welcome to the next episode of our Exceptional Building series. Today we continue to present another type of building's purpose, which you've not seen in this series as of yet. However, that would not be a sufficient reason to include it in this program. The reason we've come here is that also the form of this building is extremely remarkable. We're in the Vysočina region near the town of Počátky, and we've arrived at the Svata Katerina resort, a locality that has been providing numerous health and spa programs for a very long time. Its heyday peaked at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries. Today we've come here to see the so-called Ayurvedic Pavilion, a building that was constructed 3 years ago. When I saw the first published photographs, I was quite surprised and asked myself, what is this? Why does it look like that? I don't understand this at all. I'm intrigued. I have to see this. And that's why we're here today. The facade of this building is really minimalist, composed of large glass panes shaded by some kind of fine fabric. The surrounding environment exhibits weather conditions that are quite inhospitable, so one would think such an arrangement could suffer a lot, but apparently it's not the case here, and this is accomplished by a simple device. Namely, quite a large roof overhang, not just a minimal one as one would expect, but one that takes into account that it frequently rains and snows here. In this locality, there are granite boulders commonly found in the surrounding forests. We're close to the village of Mrakotín, famous for its granite. This building is constructed on top of 105 granite pillars, and I think this is a brilliant idea. Lift the building above the terrain, peel it off the ground so that one can get into another reality, but at the same time connect it to the ground with something concrete, traditional, original, unusual. So already when you walk up to the building, you have the feeling something extraordinary awaits me here. This detail pleased me a lot. Definite consideration for used materials is manifested here. There are wooden decks and stairs, but wood can be quite slippery in winter, so the central part that is most walked on is made of stone. It's a nice combination of these two natural materials. The building is entered from the upper part, and to enter you must walk through a long corridor with columns that prepares you for what's going on inside. So we have here an axial symmetry with clear views through the entire building and contact with the environment. The author of this building is the architect Jakub Tekel, whom I first noticed in 2005 when I saw his diploma project, The Pilgrimage Church in the Dopov Mountains. I was very impressed by his work. It seemed to be a great work by an accomplished architect and not by someone just finishing his studies. If you want to experience one of his implemented projects in Prague, visit the Information and Reservation Center of the Jewish Museum in Majzlova Street. Personally, I feel this is yet another example of a work by someone who does things slowly, honestly, seriously, a man that knows what he is doing. suppose that the building exterior has already aroused your curiosity, so now we shall show you the interior as well. But we shall wait a few hours so you can see it in different light conditions, and you'll see why. When you enter, you find yourself in the central corridor, which basically divides the pavilion into two halves. One half is dedicated to the world of wellness, and the other to the Ayurvedic therapies. Here you can decide which part you want to visit next. A ring of corridors, relaxation rooms, and resting space circumvents the interior. And I feel this is the real core of the pavilion. So yes, there are the two main functions, but the added features are really beautiful, creating an overwhelming impression one feels upon entering. We decided to show you the entire interior in the darkness, mainly for two reasons. First of all, it looks great here. One momentarily loses touch with the surrounding environment and works with infinity. There are various reflections, and one has the feeling one is surrounded by something unimaginable. And secondly, we're here after closing time, meaning we have the entire building to ourselves. We can go anywhere with the camera, which is impossible during normal operations. Inside the pavilion, one feels one is in a completely different world, a different reality. I think this was the unequivocal intention of the author. It's accomplished by employing the relatively primitive device of ongoing repetition. Repetition of columns, sections of facade and light, creating a regular rhythm. At the same time, there are the large glass window panes, which are hardly perceived because they connect you to the outside environment during the day or at night. And on the other side, there's the light, fragile textile fabric, providing a certain softness, balancing the strength and regularity. The color range is also beautiful. It's definitely not monochromatic, but the color scheme is under control. The author plays with various tones of natural materials. Their range is quite varied. However, the differences are subtle, and I think it helps the result significantly. We're in one of the 6 rooms designated for Ayurvedic massages. This is the most protected section of the building, without any connection to the outside world. The core of the wellness world is composed of the pool, and most significantly of an elevated space with a skylight. This means it is lit by natural daylight during the day, and again, there are certain principles between openness and closedness employed here. One can certainly feel intimate here, but at the same time see the other individual parts of the building. In addition to the pool, there are also a steam room and a sauna. I'm very pleased by the way it looks here, because the same principle is being repeated again. Quality materials, generosity, openness from floor to ceiling, perfection to the last detail. The author of this building faced the difficult task of finding an adequate form for the given building's purpose that dates back to ancient times and originates in a very different locality than Europe. And how did he solve the problem? Not by imitating some historical Indian architecture, but rather by using ancient principles known also in Europe and antiquity, employing regularity, harmony, and use of basic materials. I feel he did a great job. I really appreciate this architecture.